Here's how to make a speed house track like BUNT in under 10 minutes. Let's get into it.
So I have the finished Past Lives remix I started in the last video right here. I'm not going to play through the entire track like I do normally. If you want to check out the whole thing, I'll link the music video somewhere right here. But today I'll just show you the important steps I took to achieve that BUNT sound with my own little personal touches. Keep it super high level, keep it super lean, but if y'all want to have like a more in-depth explanation on how I produce this track, just leave it in the comments and I'll answer it, and maybe I'll do another video later down the road. First things first, brought the tempo to 145 BPM. Typically a house track is between that, I want to say like the 120 to 130 range, but because I wanted to keep it, kind of fast paced, more upbeat, get it to that speed house type tempo, I brought it to 145. So a little faster paced than the normal. Second thing is I wanted to make this, super vibey, kind of like your typical BUNT song, or very vibey. So what I did was I tried to create like a very, I guess call it like a spacey feel, very cosmic feel, especially in the intro. So honestly, it almost sounds like a dabbing intro. I'll play the intro here. Yeah, so as you can see, kept it, super melodic, almost sounds like a future-based song. Used a lot of different types of atmospheres, played around with the vocals, having vocal ambiances in the background. Used a lot of things like very spacey bells or sine plucks to just create a, like I said, super spacey vibe. Also threw in lots of different ear candies. I don't even know what to call it, but a bunch of like weird random one shots. Like, I can play you a few. Or maybe this one's like cool little ones, weird atmospheric one shot. Yeah, the goal is to kind of create this feeling that you're almost floating around in space, very similar to I guess took kind of inspiration from the original cover art for Past Lives. Just wanted to create that sort of feeling, and also threw in lots of random reverses and sweeps to kind of make it like that glitchy, spacey, trippy vibe. Wonder if I have an example here. Yeah, here's a good example. Use these random vocal chops. I created a little vocal chop here, but then created the reverse of it right here as well. Yeah, so it did a lot of weird, glitchy, spacey, trippy stuff, whatever you may call it, to kind of, create some vibes. Now, all of that, needless to say, doesn't really create a house track. It just makes like a bunch of weird, melodic, spacey noise. But to achieve that, house sound, that's when I kind of switched it up over here and really stripped out all of the weird atmospheric sounds. Well, not all of them. I stripped out most of them and then brought in a pretty big bass line and the classic 4 on the floor house beat. I think it's right here. Yep, so like I said, brought in the classic house drum pattern here. As well as like a very in-your-face type of bass line. Where is it? Right here. So now it kind of switches up that vibe from, super spacey, super melodic to a little bit more electronic dancey. And of course, it wouldn't be a BUNT type beat if there weren't any stutter vocals in the background. So, like I said, I stripped away a lot of the random atmospheres, but introduced these new ones through the vocals right here. Yeah, so what I did there was I still wanted to create that super spacey, trippy vibe. So I took the vocals, chopped it up, and applied like a trance gate to it. And then afterwards, I just made it super washed out by adding a ton of like reverb, delays, and then played around with the pitch bends and EQing. So it really cuts through in the background. You can kind of feel it wavering up and down. Oh yeah, and I also included a tremolo effect on it, so you kind of hear it swirl around you. So I thought that was pretty cool. If you want to get that BUNT sound, you gotta throw in that stutter vocal somewhere. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. The only thing I'll say that's, I guess, different than what I showed you in the previous video was also played around and added an orchestral part to the second drop, which, totally optional. Doesn't, I don't think I've heard of a BUNT song do this, but just, again, to kind of reinforce that super vibey, melodic, almost like emotional type vibe that we have going on. So in the second drop, I kind of created this orchestral solo. Yeah, I mean, feel free to play around with it. That's just my own personal touch that I added to this track, which I thought would sound really, really nice. But, add your own little personal touch, your own track to make it yours. So to recap, to make a BUNT song, first you want to make it super vibey. And what I mean by that, try to make it at least melodic. I went with the melodic spacey route, almost having that future bass-esque dab-in intro. And second, you definitely want to contrast this with those classic house elements. So what I did was I threw in that in-your-face bass line and those 4-on-the-floor drums. Third, make sure you have stutter vocals. It's not a BUNT song without any trippy stutter vocals fluttering around in the background. And lastly, make sure you add your own little personal flavor to it. At the end of the day, you want to make a BUNT type beat, but you want to make it yours. So add your own flavor to it. I added an whole ass BBC orchestra, but add whatever you think would sound best with the track and fits the overall themes that you're going with. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, the full track is out on YouTube. It's also out on SoundCloud and is free for download. So would love to hear what y'all think of it. So please check it out if you haven't. Please also support the original track by Sapient Dreams, which I'll also link below if you haven't heard it yet. And yeah, that's how you make a speed house track like BUNT.